In Washington County, Pennsylvania, the mere mention of Marcellus oil shale drilling is sure to stimulate a fierce debate. Tonight, though, the rules may have changed. State Representative Jesse White unveiled his plan to form a cooperative organization committed to finding a middle ground between the opposing sides. 21 local government officials gathered to voice their opinions about the drilling and field questions from the general public. Here is Representative White to explain. Representative White, I think you have started a grassroots revolt. What is the name of the organization?
What we're calling it is it's a Marcellus Municipal Co-op, and I want to be clear, we're not trying to stage a revolt, we're just trying to govern out here.
Yeah, I noticed that it was the tone of the event tonight, the gathering at Canon McMillan High School, was to assess the needs of the public, or what they perceive to be. Could you outline what that is?
I think the public spoke pretty clearly tonight. More importantly, the municipal officials here spoke pretty clearly. There's definitely a need to pool resources, to work together, to try to work in concert with the natural gas industry to make sure that the development of the Marcellus Shale is being done in a responsible and transparent way.
Do you feel that it's a given, the industry, and that's why the sort of conciliatory attitude rather than aggressive challenge?
Well, and it's funny because most people that know me know that aggressive is traditionally my default position, but this is too important to be anything less than rational and reasonable. The natural gas industry is clearly here to stay. And to be fair, they've provided an economic benefit to the region. People are working. We've fared the recession a lot better than a lot of other regions as a result of them being here, and that can't be ignored. And I think it's so crucial to make it clear that we're not trying to drive anybody out. We're not trying to cost anybody their job. We're not trying to overtax. And we're not trying to overregulate. We just want to be able to coexist and make sure that we can do the work that we've been tasked with as government.
You came into this meeting tonight with certain objectives. What were those?
The main objective was to find out whether or not the sentiment existed to form a co-op, and I think that answer was a clear and resounding yes. So that was the main thing I wanted to come away with, and also to talk about kind of the scope of what it should be examining and what the needs of the municipalities were.
Well, that's interesting you say, because I would think that probably the priorities were at least altered tonight because of the public participation and the tremendous participation by elected officials. So how did it change tonight?
You know, to be honest, I don't think it really changed much from what I kind of anticipated the needs to be, mainly because I've been talking with these municipalities. I meet with every municipality I represent. Every year we sit down and have an in-depth 2 or 3 hour conversation, and as a result of those meetings, the issue of Marcellus Shale has continually become the bigger and bigger issue. So, you know, I'm familiar with what a lot of their issues were, and I wasn't really surprised at all by what I heard tonight.
The momentum, though, will be unified rather than splintered, correct?
Absolutely, and I think you know, anybody would admit that we're going to be a lot more effective if we work together to find common ground on common issues that we can work together to solve, as compared to letting 20 municipalities with 20 limited budgets and limited resources kind of run in different directions.
What do you think were the most interesting issues that were brought up by the public?
I think the need for the funding. I think there's a clear call for industry to step up and to help fund some of this without waiting for laws to be changed, and calls for them to be the responsible corporate neighbors that they say they are. I think that's something that people have heard. They don't want to be taxed. They don't want to hear excuses. They want to feel safe. They want to feel secure. And if it means the gas industry has to contribute to help make that possible, then that's what they want to see.
Will this be an advocacy group then to suggest legislation, perhaps?
Well, again, I'm going to let the members of the co-op, clearly define what their goals are. I don't want to overreach, but I think that what you heard tonight from the public, and more importantly from the elected officials, is their budgets are stretched. Governor Corbett's budget is going to put more of a strain on local municipalities, and with the large amounts of money that our local towns have to spend to deal with a lot of these issues, whether they want to or not, there's a clear need for funding sources, and I think that's what we heard clearly tonight.
It seemed to me that also a clear message was the fact that this was the first time this has ever been done in Pennsylvania, and it was done rationally. Can you comment on that?
Yeah, I mean, we have been kind of ground zero for Marcellus Shale development in Pennsylvania. The first Marcellus well in Pennsylvania was done here in my district. This is something the industry literally grew up around us. Many of the big companies are headquartered here in my district. So this has become, it has changed the culture of the area I represent. There's no denying it. It's changed the landscape almost overnight. So it just makes sense that in a series of firsts relating to Marcellus Shale, we would be the first to come together as a group of municipalities and take a proactive, rational stand to try to make sure that we can make sense of all this.
Thank you very much.